So we've got a moment here. We want to try and give you a proper sense of what to expect in this tour, in many ways, through the heart of London, a 7-mile flotilla. So we've put together this little map for you to get a glimpse of what to expect over the next couple of hours. I think if most Canadians were asked to name one river in Great Britain, they'd come up with this one, the Thames, of course. It is the historic river that twists and turns, snakes its way through the city of London. Starting at the Battersea Park area, starts to go through and under all these various bridges, a dozen or so that go right through downtown London. You can see how it's built up. As many as 1 million people are going to be on these shores. Here's the first big world-famous landmark, of course, on your left, Westminster, the British Parliament. That's Big Ben, as you see. That on the right is the Eye, that grand Ferris wheel that now also is known around the world as being part of downtown London. So you come through this final stage of bridges that leads up to perhaps the most famous bridge in Britain. And there it is, you see up on the horizon, Tower Bridge. This is the area that marks the end of the flotilla, about an hour and a half. You see the CBC symbol there? That's right beside London City Hall, which is the building next to where we are today, Kira and I, overlooking Tower Bridge. So we've got a great location to see the end of the flotilla. And that gives you a sense of what this is going to be like over the next couple of hours as that flotilla winds its way through London, and 1,000 boats in it to take them out to the Spirit of Chartwell. One of the attendants offered his arm. She didn't take it.
She knows that barge very well.
Yeah. So the Queen, Prince Charles, the Duke of Edinburgh, Camilla, Duchess of Cornwall, now heading out on the Thames. This signals, and you can hear some of the horns blowing in the background as well, that we're getting close to the beginning of all this. Well, we'll keep our eye on this, but we want to bring in three of the people who are really going to help us over this next couple of hours. We watch the old steam engine crossing the bridge. Let's first start off with Heather Hiscox, who is operating not far from where we are, here at the Tower Bridge area, which is, as we said, the end of the route. Heather's on location down by the Thames.
And the Canadian participants, and just jumping in on one point there, when the Queen was getting onto that tender to take her out to the Spirit of Chartwell, you may have noticed some of the heralds that she was passing in front of. There are 11 Canadian heralds who were there to see her off. Their job is to open the way for the Queen. So she passed right by Dr. Claire Boudreau, Canada's chief herald, and the heralds are actually going to be on a ship called the Connaught, and they're going to be sailing in front of the Queen. So those 11 Canadian heralds, very much a part of the proud Canadian contingent that I'll be watching from here.
All right, Heather, thanks very much. We'll be back to Heather throughout the next couple of hours. Let's head down from the end of the route up to the beginning of the route in the Battersea Park area, where we're watching the Queen getting ready for her involvement in the start of this flotilla. Our Susan Ormiston.
Decommissioned and sitting in Edinburgh. Earlier today, Peter, we were even further upriver to Putney Pier, where we saw what's called the man-powered section of this flotilla launch. In fact, it's many women-powered vessels, because these were the dragon boats, and two of them, as Heather has been mentioning, are being powered by women who are survivors of breast cancer. Lots of Canadians there this morning, and boy, were they excited when they got into the Thames finally a couple of hours ago. So we're going to keep our eye on this for you, that movement of that royal...
Their launch that, as we said, has used to be attached to Royal Yacht Britannia. Now, familiar territory for the Queen and Prince Philip. It will be taking them to the Spirit of Chartwell. Both Susan and Heather mentioned the Canadians that are a part of this day, and there are quite a few, although there's only one true Canadian vessel involved out there today, and it's a Canadian canoe, and it's quite the story. We hope to be showing you that, obviously. There's a Canadian flag as to one of the many flags that will be represented on the different boats and vessels around the royal couple, because all the Commonwealth countries are marked by their flags. But the canoe, first time in the water this morning in the Thames River. It didn't get here until yesterday. It flew across the Atlantic, brought over by the Royal Canadian Air Force. There were all kinds. Were you going to tell me?
Oh, I know what Kate's wearing, Peter. I know you really care about that.
I do. I'm fascinated by whoever would have possibly designed that.
Alexander McQueen, Sarah Burton for Alexander McQueen, who designed her wedding dress. Exactly.
Yeah. And he designed your dress too, didn't he?
I'm also wearing Alexander McQueen, so there you go. We got it right. 2 days, two big occasions together.
Well, it's 2 years in a row he's not into men's suits yet, but he's doing a very good job on Kate Middleton and on Kira Hunt. Okay, we have one more reporter who's down at Thames River level, and that's our Anne-Marie Medawake, who was with us for the royal wedding, with us on the Queen and Prince Philip. On the launch, heading towards the Spirit of Chartwell. We're getting a great detailed look at some of the floral arrangements on the royal barge. Thousands and thousands of flowers involved in that.
Yes, Peter. They have 10,000 flowers, if you can believe it, and 600 plants. We just saw a detail of the Royal E. 4,000 red carnations, 2,000 roses. They all have herons aboard as well. Prince Edward daughter will be on HMS President, which is stationary. It's moored. It will not be going along the river. And Princess Anne will be on Trinity House #1 boat. So they will all be surrounding the Spirit of Chartwell, but of course it's the main Prince Charles and Prince William who will be accompanying the Queen on the Spirit of Chartwell.
Well, this gives you an idea of the size of the crowds that have lined the Thames. And keep in mind here, it has been raining most of today. There seems to have been a break in that rain the last little while. It's still forecasting for some heavy downpours this afternoon, but they have held off in the last hour or so. But many of these crowds came last and histories, all waiting for the Queen to not actually lead the flotilla. It'll be led by this belfry barge that has the great bells on it that Kira was talking about, but also by a whole section of vessels that are man-powered, that are paddle, kayaks, canoes, a variety of small vessels that will be at the lead. And the mixture of other vessels involved, you know, as we mentioned, the Dunkirk little boats, the boats that responded to Winston Churchill's call to help evacuate the British Expeditionary Force from Europe, from Dunkirk in France, back to Britain. As we said, you know, private boats, fishing boats, you name it, they all went over there to bring back. You're looking live at the Thames River in downtown London, the beginning of the flotilla, marking this, the 60th anniversary of the Queen's coronation, the Diamond Jubilee celebration, and this is going to be quite something. We welcome viewers from across Canada watching right now on CBC television, joining our viewers who have been watching.
In 97, and this is her first time that she has been on the barge since. But really what the Gloriana, which we are seeing now, rowed by 18 oars people, including 2 Olympians. This has been done up privately for the Queen. It was presented to her a few months ago, and this has been done up with all the pomp and glory that one would expect of a royal pageant. This pageant is going to be the greatest, they say, in history, the biggest pageant they've had in 350 years. But all eyes for us are on the Spirit of Chartwell, where Her Majesty, Prince Charles and Princes William and Harry will be there for the day. day.
The Gloriana will be leading the Spirit of Chartwell, heading out there as we sort of in that kind of, we were talking earlier to our viewers on CBC News Network about the vessels that are human power, whether it's like the Gloriana or the variety of kayaks and canoes and rowboats, lifeboats. They got them all in here. 1,000 boat flotilla heading down the Thames over the next hour and a half to about